Well, President Obama got a grilling over the subject of Obamacare yesterday. Our own Bill O'Reilly going after the president, calling for the White House to hold the people behind the botched rollout accountable.
Why didn't you fire Sebelius, the secretary in charge of this? Because, I mean, she had to know after all those years and all that money that it wasn't going to work.
You know, my main priority right now is making sure that it delivers for the American people.
I'm sure that the intent is noble, but I'm a taxpayer, and I'm paying Kathleen Sebelius a salary, and she screwed up, and you're not holding her accountable.
Well, I promise you that we hold everybody up and down the line accountable.
Really? Joining us now is Kirsten, a columnist for the Daily Beast, and Tony Say, Republican political analyst and national political correspondent for Talk Radio News Service. Both are Fox News contributors. Kirsten, you know, I mean, it's a fair question because the question of accountability has been one that crosses a lot of different topics with the president, with this presidency. Were you satisfied with his answer?
No, because he didn't really answer it. When he said, well, you know, we hold people accountable up and down the line, that doesn't address the fact that actually who's been held accountable for what happened with the Obamacare rollout. Now, I can understand if the president would say, I don't think, I can't fire her because there's no way for me to get another person confirmed right now because things are too toxic on the Hill and I need to have somebody in that position to oversee this. I mean, if he wants to offer that as a reason, but to suggest that he's holding people accountable, at least in this situation, doesn't seem to ring true to me.
Yeah, Tony, I mean, it just raises the next question. Who? I mean, who's been held accountable? Where?
It's amazing to me, and I give the Daily Beast, Kirsten's publication that's viewed generally as left-leaning, credit for saying that the president really ducked this question. It was so obvious when he says, we're going to hold people up and down the line. Well, not only who, but if not Sebelius, then where else are you going to go? She is, to keep in the context of the Super Bowl, the quarterback of this Obamacare rollout. And then when he talks about accountability, do you realize how general and vague he gets? That was also pointed out by the Daily Beast. Accountability is about direct, specific action. This was the problem, therefore this is the solution, and this is who I'm holding accountable. We saw Governor Christie do that in the whole Bridgegate matter. The president just kind of globally and vaguely deflects this question, goes to show that at his core, it's really not a priority for him, and he wanted to just kind of get through that moment with Bill O'Reilly, which was a tough one for him.
Yeah, I mean, he seems convinced that things are getting better, that it's all going to be okay in the end, and that everybody will, you know, pat him on the back, I guess, eventually, when everything, you know, sort of works out the way he seems to believe it will. That remains to be seen. Let's listen to another soundbite from the interview, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Was it the biggest mistake of your presidency to tell the nation over and over, if you like your insurance, you can keep your insurance?
Oh, Bill, you've got a long list of my mistakes in my presidency.
No, really, for you, wasn't that the biggest one?
This is one that I regret, and I said I regretted, in part because we put in a grandfather clause in the original law saying that, in fact, you were supposed to be able to keep it. It obviously didn't cover everybody that we needed to, and that's why we changed it.
Kirsten, what do you think about that exchange?
Well, I don't know what he's talking about exactly because I don't know how it's been changed so that people didn't lose their health insurance. People still lost their health insurance, and the president did come out and say that he thought that insurance companies shouldn't be dropping them, but that had no force of law. That wasn't any way to guarantee that people could get it back. And in fact, it was too difficult for the health insurance companies at that point to go back and reinstate these. I also am not sure that what he said is quite accurate about the original bill. I think that if you go back and look at the bill, there was actually a good reason to believe that this was going to happen. It wasn't very closely followed by a lot of people, but in hindsight, I think people now say
there was that little part that said if it's been altered at all since the law went into effect, then it's not grandfathered, and that turned out to be a hole that you could, you know, drive a truck through. Tony, one more quick thought on that last exchange, and then we got to go.
Well, look, it's clear that Obamacare as an issue is terrible for the president. It's bringing his poll numbers down, not on just job approval and on the issue itself, but trust and credibility. He's just kind of grinding his teeth and getting through these questions. That's the impression I was left with. And everyone wants accountability. Robert Gibbs wants accountability. His former press secretary said people should be fired. Jon Stewart asked Nancy Pelosi, you know, about the website. She goes, it wasn't my responsibility. Let's end it with your question, Martha. Well, then who, if not Sebelius? It's really going to be an ongoing problem until he takes direct action on it.
It's the elephant in the room. There's no doubt about it. Thank you very much, you guys. Kirsten, Tony, we'll see you next time.
20 pounds.